Shri Gauranga Nitananda, Shri Advaita Chandra, Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinode, Jayo Radhe Jayo Krishna, Jayo Vrindavan, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan. Chapter 24 of the Jaiva Dharma, Offenses to the Holy Name. Brajanath and Vijay Kumar had just heard the wonderful explanation of the Nam Tattva from Babaji Maharaj. And when they returned home that night, Brajanath and Vijay started to chant on their Tulsi beads. They went to sleep late that night. By chanting the pure name, they experienced the mercy of Krishna. Early the next morning, discussing everything, they obtained great bliss. They spent their day in taking bath in the Ganga, worshipping Krishna, chanting the Nam, reading the Dasamula, studying the Bhagavatam, serving the Vaishnavas, and eating prasad. After twilight, they arrived at the kutir of Babaji at Shiva Sangan. After offering respects and sitting, according to the previous day's proposal, Vijay Kumar inquired about the offenses to the holy name. With natural pleasure, Babaji began to speak. Just as the name is the highest tattva, an offense to the name is worse than all types of sins and offenses. All types of sin and offenses are destroyed simply by taking shelter of the name. Offense to the name, though, does not easily dissipate. The Padma Purana states, for those who have committed offenses to the names chanted incessantly destroy the sin and will deliver them. If one can chant the name incessantly, the name itself will destroy the offense of the person who has committed the offense to the name. But the method of destroying offenses to the name is very difficult. The key word is incessantly. So it is a difficult process. One should at least try to avoid committing offense to the holy name. Then with our proper intention, Nam will be merciful. Thus the intelligent person takes the name while avoiding offenses. If one is careful to avoid offenses to the name, quickly the pure name will appear within the heart. Some person may chant the name with tears in his eyes, but if chanted with offense, that is not the pure name. If the devotees are not very careful, they cannot chant that pure name. Vijay Kumar now asks, "Oh Prabhu, what is that pure name?" The pure name, is devoid of 10 offenses. Anyone who chants, remembers, or hears even one name of the Lord truly surpasses pure and impure caste without obstacles. But if the name is given to offenders among the prasandas, greedy for body, object, and following, it does not give results quickly. In other words, the intention in receiving the name by that person who receives the name is to awaken within one's heart love for Krishna. Any other intention in getting initiation or receiving the Nam, which does not fall into the category of awakening our pure love for Krishna, would be followed by some kind of offense. The meaning of the verse is this: O Brahmana, if the name appears on a person's tongue once, or if he hears it or remembers it, it will definitely deliver the person. How powerful is that? Even if one hears or it appears on the tongue or remembers it, the living being is delivered from the samsara of material life. The purity of the name's syllables, or the impurity of the syllables, or not pronouncing it perfectly according to rules, are not to be considered. But if the name endowed with all shaktis falls among stone-hearted people who are attached to their body, their house, their money, their followers, it does not give quick results. There are two obstacles, ordinary and great. If it is an ordinary obstacle, the name is called namabhas. It is a shadow of the real name. Slowly, that name will give results. The example often given is Ajamil. He chanted a shadow of the name by calling out for his son, but the result was there. So it was not Nam Aparadha. He was calling out for his son when he was realizing that the Yamadutas were coming for him. He shouted out, Narayan! So the Vishnudutas heard that, and the merciful Nam released that Ajamil from the bondage of the Yamadutas. Vishnudutas came to deliver. So that may be considered namabhas. It was not purely chanted in love for Krishna or even with the intention to call out for Krishna. He was calling for his son. But it is considered not a great offense. It is a shadow of the name, and that has a great power in itself. The problem is when nam is chanted with offense. The namabhas will slowly give results. If there's a great obstacle, that is called nam aparadha, an offense to the name. It will not be destroyed except through incessant chanting of the name. You have to seek the apologies, in one sense, of the nam, that you have correctly chanted it with attachments or with other offenses attached to it. So there's an apology that is required. That apology is done by incessant chanting of the name now. That now let me purely chant the name to seek the mercy of the name. So what are these 10 offenses? Babaji begins to say, these are mentioned in the Padma Purana. 1. One who criticizes devotees commits the greatest offense, because how can the name tolerate criticism of those who spread the glories of the name? First offense is to commit an offense towards the devotees who are spreading the glories of the holy name. One commits an offense if he considers Shiva and his name and qualities to be independent of Vishnu. That's the second offense. Disrespecting the Guru, criticizing the scriptures, there are also offenses, nam aparadhas. It is an offense to think that the glories of the name is exaggerated or to give an imaginary meaning to the name. This means this means that. No. It means Krishna. Krishna and his name are non-different. One who commits sin on the strength of the name cannot be purified by following rules. Thinking that the chanting of the name is no greater than following Dharma. It is ordinary pious activity, that is, to think that chanting of the holy name is a pious action, like doing some vrat or practicing renunciation, performing sacrifice, or some other type of pious act. This is considered madness, says Babaji. To think it is ordinary pious actions? The low person who, after hearing the glories of the name, is still without devotion and is greatly entrenched in concepts of I and mine, also commits an offense. If that person continues to identify with the body and the attachments of the body, even while chanting the holy name, it does not relieve him. It is nam aparadha. So let me explain these things in more detail, says Babaji. The first verse explains 2 offenses. The first offense, devotees who have taken exclusive shelter of nam and given up all forms of karma, dharma, gyan, and yoga. If one criticizes them, it is a great offense, since they spread the name's glories to the world. Their very presence glorifies the name. They're always chanting by seeing such devotees. One hears the name and conversing with them, they'll learn something about Krishna. They are the Lord's emissaries within this world, the devotees. So to criticize them is a great offense. The name cannot tolerate criticizing such devotees. While giving up criticism of the devotees, surrender to the name. If one chants the name in the association of those devotees, thinking of those devotees as the greatest of devotees, that name will quickly be merciful. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us that the first principle of the Vaishnava is to become humble, humbler than the blade of grass. That means to honor the senior Vaishnavas, to honor the devotees. And to commit offense, to criticize them, will mean an offense to the Nam. Vijay Kumar said, oh, I have now understood the first offense. What is the second offense? Babaji says, there are two explanations to this offense. Here's the first. If one sees Sadashiva, Lord Shiva, who is the best of the devatas in Vishnu, with their names and qualities as separate entities, it becomes an offense to the name. This means that if one imagines that Sadashiva is separate, an independent Lord with full powers, and Vishnu is a separate Lord, then it falls into the category of thinking there are many gods. The devotees and the demigods are considered the Shaktis of the Lord, the potencies of the Lord. They are to be revered and not to speak against them, especially Lord Shiva. Vaishnava Jata Shambhu. He is considered the best of Vaishnavas. And in one sense, he is considered non-different than Lord Hari. Hari Hara. This is an offense, if one thinks like this. A great obstacle to pure bhakti for the Lord appears. However, if one understands that Vishnu is the Supreme Lord, and by his Shakti, Shiva, and the other devatas are lords, they do not have complete Shakti on their own. They are empowered by the Lord, and one chants the holy name. It is not an offense. That is, to give our respect to the devatas. One should, just as one gives respect to the Vaishnavas, because they're all Vaishnavas. There is a second meaning to this, though. If one sees the name, the forms, and the qualities and pastimes of the Lord, who has the most auspicious form, here we take the word Shivasya Shri Vishnu. Shivasya means most auspicious. So if one thinks that the name, the forms, the qualities, and pastimes of the Lord are Shivasya, most auspicious, then there's no offense. But if one separates them from his Nitya Siddha Vigraha, one commits an offense to the name. In other words, separating the name from the Nami, he who's being named, Krishna. That Krishna and his name are different. That becomes offense. Thus one should chant Krishna's name, having received Gyan and Vigyan, that is, from the spiritual master, understanding the nature of Krishna and his name, the nature of Krishna and his form, his qualities, his pastimes, for they are all spiritual, and they are none different from the Lord. Otherwise, one commits an offense to the name. It is a rule that after having obtained Sambandha Gyan from the Guru, then one can chant Krishna's name. That is proper understanding, proper conception is there. Then there is no question of committing offense. Vijay Kumar said, oh, I have understood first and second offense, since you previously, by your mercy, have explained this tattva. is in relation to Bheda Bhed, difference and non-difference. Within Krishna's spiritual conscious Sarup, that he is non-different than his name, he is non-different than his form, his leelas. All of these are integrated. They are Krishna. They're all part of Krishna. Please now explain the third offense. Babaji says, the person who teaches the supremacy of that Nam Tattva is considered the Nam Guru, whom you receive the instruction about the glories of the name and receive the name from. He is your Nam Guru. One must maintain unflinching devotion to him. The person who disrespects Nam Guru, saying that Guru only understands scriptures about the name, but those who know more about Vedanta are superior in knowledge of scriptures, he's an offender to the name. To think that I can go beyond Guru who has taught me the glories of the name, for the name is the most important aspect of our devotional practice. To think there's more, something beyond what my Guru is teaching about the glories of the name, he becomes Aparadha. In reality, there is no higher Guru than the Guru who teaches Nam Tattva. If one thinks of the Guru in this way, that I should jump over his head and find someone who can teach me something more, he commits an offense to the name. There's someone higher than the Nam Guru. Vijay Kumar said, "Oh Prabhu, I am most fortunate. If I can have pure bhakti for you, O Gurudev, that would be my greatest fortune." Now please explain the fourth offense. Babaji says, the Shrutis, in giving special spiritual instructions, puts the name in the highest position. It is stated in the Rig Veda, O Vishnu, knowing that your name is spiritual and self-revealed, chanting that name which is easily understood, we all worship you. We offer many respects to the lotus feet of you, who are most worthy of worship, and glorify them after understanding them completely. They purify your devotees who hear and sing amongst them. We take shelter of your spiritual names with this conviction. Praise be to Krishna, who is everlasting, to be understood through the Vedas, in the way that you know him. In this way, make your birth complete, O Vishnu, knowing that your name is spiritual and self-revealed, chanting that name, which is easily understood, we all worship you. The process of worshiping the Lord through the holy name is the highest sadhana. We were hearing that in the previous chapter, that the highest sadhana is the chanting of the holy name, and everything else, all other practices, come together to assist us in being able to chant the holy name purely. In this way, one sees the holy name glorified in all the Vedas and throughout the Upanishads. If one criticizes these Shrutis, it is offense to the name, the scriptures that glorify the name. If you commit offense to them, then you're criticizing the holy name. If after giving respect to the Shrutis' various teachings, out of great misfortune one disrespects the Shrutis, which explains the meaning of the name, that is Nam Aparadha. Those who commit this offense do not develop a taste for the name. You should chant the name while regarding the major statements of the Shrutis to be the crown jewel of all knowledge, which describe the name as the highest glorification and worship of the Lord. Vijay Kumar said, "Oh Prabhuji, nectar is flowing from your mouth. We are so thirsty to know more. What is the fifth offense to the name?" The fifth offense to the name of the Lord is exaggeration. Jaimini has said those who interpret the words in the Shruti, Smriti, and Puranas, which glorify the name, go to hell. That is, to say that the name has some kind of other meaning than he who is being named. We are chanting Krishna name because we are worshiping Krishna, We worship the form of Krishna. We worship the leelas of Krishna. We worship the qualities of Krishna. We worship the land of Krishna. We worship everything in connection with Krishna through the power of the Nam, the name of Krishna. That person who, even after hearing about the wonderful results of chanting the Lord's name, refuses to develop sincere faith in the name, and on the contrary, he interprets the name, that there's some other interpretation to chanting, no. He is hurled into the deepest gloom of material nescience after being dragged through excruciating suffering, states the Padma Purana. The scriptures say that the Lord's name possesses all Shaktis. For the Lord and the name is non-different. The name is spiritual. It is capable of destroying everything related to this material world. It dissolves this material world, finishes our samsara, and delivers us to the lotus feet of the Lord in the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha realm. O best of kings, the person who chants the auspicious name of Krishna burns to ashes millions of mahapataks. That means great sins. I do not see anything for the living beings except chanting of the Lord's name as the only atonement to destroy all sins. The name of the Lord can destroy all the sins that a sinful person can even commit. How powerful is that? Like a blazing fire destroying everything in its path. The holy name can destroy all the sins of even a previous great sinner. The example is there in Jagaya Madai. All this glorification is true. To minimize it or think it's an exaggeration is an offense. Those engaged in karma and gyan, on hearing this glorification, minimize the meaning in order to maintain their own activities. Someone may think, oh, I know, I've heard about Krishna Nam, yeah, but I perform karma, I do gyan, I do this, I do that. Then he's doesn't understand the real purport of the chanting of the name. One should have faith in the statements of the scripture and chant the name of the Lord. One should not associate with persons who commit offense. If one sees the face of such a person, one should bathe, says Gauranga Mahaprabhu, even with one's clothing on. Jump quickly into the Ganga if you hear someone criticizing the holy name. Vijay Kumar says, oh Prabhu, it is very easy for householders to chant the name purely, since they are always surrounded. Oh, it is not easy for householders to chant the holy name purely because they're always surrounded by offenders to the name. Devotee association is difficult. Please give us the power to give up all bad association. The more we hear from your mouth, the more we desire to hear. Please continue with the sixth offense. If one thinks that all the names of the Lord are imaginary, that is the sixth offense. Just like the Mayavadis, they think the Lord's form is imaginary. So what to speak of the name? So if you take instructions from Mayavadis, they will convince you, oh, this is all imaginary. There is nothing beyond all of this. You go beyond all of this. You must go beyond the form, beyond the name, enter into that impersonal Brahman. That is their teaching. They're Mayavadis. They themselves are an illusion. Because the highest tattva is the Nam of Krishna and the form of Krishna, the Leela of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna. So the name of the Lord is eternal and spiritual. The name chanted with bhakti awakens love within the heart for Krishna. Learn this from the real Guru. One should not think the name of the Lord is imaginary. One who thinks it is imaginary never gets the mercy of the name. Vijay Kumar says, oh Prabhu, as long as we did not take shelter of your fearless feet, we also had such a mentality. for we associated with materialists and logicians. It's only by the mercy of a pure Vaishnava can you understand the real truth of the Nam. And so Vijaya is saying, without your mercy, we were also lost in this Mayavadi conception and associating with various materialists and logicians. By your mercy now, we are free of this mentality. Now please explain the seventh offense. Those who engage in sin on the strength of the name are offenders. One who commits all sins while taking shelter of the name cannot be purified by all the yamas and niyamas, since that chanting of the name is considered an offense to the name. And the offense can only be removed by the process that removes the offense to the name. Vijay Kumar says, but Prabhu, there is no sin on earth that the name cannot destroy. Why does the chanting of the name not destroy sin, and why is it counted as an offense? Babaji says, when the jiva chants the pure name, just one nam destroys all parabdha and aparadha sins. Chanting after that, prema rises. All the sins committed in this life, all the sins committed in the past life, washed away by the power of the chanting of the holy name. Thus, the person who chants the pure name, far from thinking of committing sin, has no taste for all this punya karma, pious actions, and so forth. What to speak of sin? He's not interested in piety, punya, or pap, or sinful actions. His life is devoted to awakening and serving Krishna, awakening his love and serving Krishna. So, even the Namabhas previously described destroys sins. And a taste to commit new sins does not ever arise. But maybe from some previous habit, some remnant of sin may remain. By Namabhas, those will also be gradually destroyed. Sometimes he may accidentally commit sin, but that is removed by the power of the chanting. However, if such a person who takes shelter of the name thinks, oh, now I can do what I like, I can perform all sinful activities and chant the name, because I'm free from any entanglement, the name will save me. No, that is improper thinking. One cannot think the name will save me. If you yourself are throwing yourself back into the samsara, then the name will not come to save you. You have to carefully chant the holy name with proper intention. And if by chance there is fall down, then you just stand up and chant again with the intention to never commit again, and with proper attitude of desire to stay on the path of pure devotion, proper repentance, therefore. Oh, what is that eighth offense now? Dharma means following varnashram, performing charities. Vrat means auspicious karmas. All of these, even as things, Astanga yoga and various sacrifices, hutas, one should not equate those things with chanting. The Lord's name is beyond Prakriti. The previous mentioned sat karmas are a means, and they promise to produce complete happiness as the goal. Thus, no sat karma is actually equal to the name of the Lord, and those who think that the name of the Lord is the same as pious actions, they are offenders to the name. So one should know proper action in connection with devotion. That is called abhideya. After receiving sambandha, knowledge of Krishna and his name, then one should learn how to act in a way into awakening, how to chant properly, how to awaken our love for Krishna by proper action. Oh Prabhu, there is nothing equal to the name of the Lord. Please explain the ninth offense. Our hearts are very thirsty to hear. Teachings about the name of the Lord are better than anything else which is taught in the Vedas. Those who have developed faith in pure bhakti are the real persons qualified for chanting the Lord's name. They have shraddha. They have working their faith. By hearing from Guru, by hearing from the Vaishnavas, true shraddha has awakened. Those persons are qualified to chant the holy name. If one instructs the name to those who do not have faith, and they continue with their sinful activities, not taking the instruction seriously, that is considered an offense. When you become a Parama Bhagavat, you will be able to spread bhakti everywhere. First, mercifully spread Shakti, which will produce faith. So the Vaishnava is given a responsibility to increase the faith of the people that he comes in contact with the power of the name. And then those who are pure enough will be able to actually invoke that within their hearts. As long as one is Madhyam Vaishnava, one should avoid those who have no faith, for they are materially inclined and thus averse to the Lord. So we should be careful when we are instructing others that they are submissive to hearing the instructions. If they are not submissive and want to argue or want to hold on to their attachments or their own ideas, that I do various other spiritual activities, so forth, then one should be careful not to give further instructions, because they will commit offense. It's for their benefit. Prabhu, some people give Mahamantra to unqualified persons who are simply greedy for money and fame. Yes, they are offenders. Some materialistic-minded gurus. They give some beads and chant the name. Okay, you say like this, and they get some money in reward. That is offensive mentality of those who are giving the name. They are offenders too. Vijay Kumar says, please explain the 10th offense. A person in the material world may become intoxicated with thinking, oh, I am such and such person. This is my wealth. These people are mine. So he becomes attached with temporary fame and recognition and wealth that may come from his preaching. Then he has to be very careful also. He becomes an offender by his attachment. You have expanded your names in so many forms, and in them you have invested all your personal Shaktis. No rules have been made about when one can remember them. O Lord, this is your greatness. This is your mercy. Yet my misfortune is such that I have developed no attraction for them. This is the humble prayer of the Vaishnava. Free from these 10 offenses, one should desire to chant the holy name constantly, and the name will very quickly give prem by its mercy, and thus one becomes a Parama Bhagavat, a true Vaishnava of the highest caliber. Vijay Kumar said, oh Prabhu, I see that these Mayavadis, the Karmavadis, the Yogis, they're all offenders. During Nam Kirtan, one mixes though with so many people that come together for Kirtan. Maybe these Mayavadis come, Karmavadis come, Yogis come, they want to chant too. Should pure Vaishnavas participate in such Kirtan with mixed group, with various mentalities? Babaji says a Vaishnava does not participate in Kirtan groups, where the majority who do the Kirtan are offenders. You should understand who you're chanting with. Some people may come, that is okay. But if the majority is a Mayavadi program and they do some kirtan, one should not attend that. The name is not being purely chanted. But if the program is being held by pure Vaishnavas and others come, that is acceptable. They do not dominate, nor do their conceptions dominate the attendance. Vijay Kumar and Brajanath began praising Babaji with choked voices, having now prayed for the name. After taking the dust from his feet, they then decided to go home and left for Bilva Pushkarni, while chanting Hari Haraye Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna. They chanted the holy names, Hari Haraye Namaha, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, feeling invigorated from hearing the teachings of Babaji and knowing now what to avoid so that they can continue on the path of pure devotional service. Jai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.